Hey everybody, this is Vril. Welcome back to Extended Timeline World War II. We are now up to May of 2043. In the last episode, we had a war between Greece and the British. Greeks were allied with the Italians and I think Romania, and they were able to capture the island of Cyprus here for themselves. Now down in Africa, we had a few wars as well. We had a war between Botswana and Zambia. The Botswana was allied with Kenya, and each of those took a couple provinces from Zambia. Also, a few wars in South America. We had the Brazilians, who were allied with the Germans and the Mexicans against the Peruvians, who were mainly allied with the French, and the Brazilians took a very, very large chunk from Peru. Now, you'll have to excuse my French pronunciations, but as I said, Germany was at war with France in that war with Brazil there. And the Germans were able to occupy all of France here, and they were able to peace out, and some new nations were created, like Provence here, Toulouse, we've got Guyenne, and Normandy up here in northern France. Looking at the armies of the world, we have the Chinese, US, Soviet Union, Italy, and Germany. I'll note that the Italians completely out of manpower, and looking at the wars that are still going on, we have a West African war for independence, so Spanish West Africa is allied with the French once again, very low on manpower as well though. Cameroon against Spain. Spain has no allies, so it's going well for the West Africans here. We have an American-British imperialist war, going slightly well for the Americans, but I think this war has been going on for a very long time, so they might end up having to peace out just because of war exhaustion. And we have a Venezuelan-Peruvian nationalist war. You would think that this war would be going well for the Venezuelans, but that is not the case. The Venezuelans trying to take the opportunity of Peru just losing a couple wars against the Brazilians, and actually the Argentinians were in there as well. So trying to take advantage of that, but it's not going very well for Venezuela here. We've got the Dominicans are on the side of the Peruvians. The Dominicans showed up, occupied some territory. Peru, although they've been beat back, still have a very large army with very, very good leaders. So you can see right here the Peruvians taking out this French stack. So I'm expecting the Peruvians actually to win this war. You can see their war score was down to, Venezuela's war score was down to -68. So possibly taking a large chunk from the Peruvians here. Now, the French had beaten back Spain here, but Spain still has a lot of manpower, so was able to rebuild their army here, and now they're occupying parts of France, so I wouldn't be surprised if the French try to peace out of this Spanish West African war at some point soon. Looking back at what's going on here, I'm surprised. Okay, there it goes. The Peruvians just peaced out with the Venezuelans. The Venezuelans just have a couple provinces left. We've got some islands, and the Venezuelans still hold Jamaica, so a little funny that, but yeah, so we've got the Spanish occupying France here, so not very good for the French. So it looks like they're going to lose some more territory going forward. They've probably lost more territory in this series than anybody. But, yeah. I mean, they've lost some of their colonies. They've lost some of their mainland territory. They did recently create a new colony in the Caribbean. But that was just like barely a colony at all. The Greeks are dealing with some rebel issues. Surprised that this American-British war hasn't peaced out at some point. I was thinking that the Americans are sieging out all of like India here, and what would be, it's called British Indochina here, but what would be, I guess, Malaysia. I would think that's what they actually want is this territory, but I'm thinking that they're probably not going to be able to get it. I guess there are some other British islands they might be able to capture. Who knows what the Americans are thinking in this series, honestly. Heading back up to Europe. Looks like okay. I thought maybe that the French had peaced out with the Spanish, but that did not happen. me take our speed up to 4. It might go a little slow, at least slow downs. Freezes more like it. But get some time. Botswana here, I was noting in the last episode, Botswana has a pretty large army. So does the British Somaliland here, which is an independent nation of British Somaliland for whatever reason. That did not get any new name. I guess it could have been Kenya, but I think Kenya was already its own independent nation itself, since this is a mix of Somalia there as well, and Ethiopia. So yeah, it looks like the French completely out of armies, and the Americans did peace out with the British. Let's see if they actually captured, the Americans captured anything. It might be a good idea to look at the actual American map. Some action going on with the Netherlands. So I don't think that the Americans really captured very much. If they did, it might have been the Sulu Island. They might have gotten that from the Japanese earlier, though. So what do we just have going on? It was another Japanese-Dutch imperialist war. So the Japanese have finally got an ally in New Zealand, it looks like. It's against the Netherlands, the Italian Somaliland, and Vietnam. So this could be just kind of interesting to see how this goes. Surprisingly, the Chinese have not warred, and the Soviets actually as well. They were warring a lot with Japanese in this series. They haven't declared war again, but they might. If the Japanese start losing some manpower, they might try to take advantage. So we'll see. The Japanese trying to expand into Indonesia here. Netherlands a little bit weak, losing a lot of wars. Got the Spanish just sieging out. This is France. First, they've got beat by Germany several times in this series, and actually they've lost to Spain a couple times as well, because you can easily see that the Spanish borders have pushed up into France. It's not very good for them. It looks like the Greeks are having some issues with these rebels as well, though, but it looks like they'll deal with them shortly. Ah, yes, and that was a quick war, but a couple episodes ago, the Soviets had taken over what was a single province nation of Armenia there. Or was it? Yeah, it was Armenia, I think. Looking anything else? We have a Mauritanian, Spanish, West African. Did we? Okay. We've got Mauritania. They had actually warred with Mali in the last episode as well, and took some land here. So the Spanish were able to again finish off that Spanish West Africa War for Independence there. So it failed, and right after that happened. Okay, we've got an American-Dutch imperialist war that just fired off as well. So the Dutch are really feeling it from the Japanese and the Americans. Same alliance there for both of those. And we have another Estonian-Finnish nationalist war. Estonia is allied with the Soviet Union's, lucky for them, against the Finnish. So we will end the Mauritania with Niger against Spain, Spanish West Africa, and Algeria. So let's quickly look up here. And Estonia's, I think Estonia is coming on very strong here with the Soviet help here. They might be able to capture all of Finland, I'm thinking, at some point. So our Scandinavian lands would be down to Norway and Estonia, if that happened anyway. Yeah, you can see actually the Finnish just beat the Soviet army there for a moment, but that's not going to last very long, I don't think. Looks like there they go. The 100k stacks and all that. Well, this is going to be a very quick war, I would say. So we've got the Americans all over the Netherlands here in Indonesia. We've got the Netherlands. So New Zealand actually has this New Guinea area here as part of their land. So they probably want to take some land from the Netherlands as well, which is why they allied with the Japanese in this war. Having some issues with the Netherlands here, though. New Zealand's only has some one-star generals. Obviously, they're a new nation. They haven't had very many wars, so they don't have their land tradition very high. We've got the Japanese occupying parts of the Netherlands here as well, very quickly. Netherlands still have an army, though. Okay, we've also got Oman. This is going to be like a one-province nation war. Oh, actually, it's a couple. But Oman is... Actually, it's two. It's one. It's one. So, yeah, I was thinking that that wasn't going to last very long, that Yemen was going to be independent, so there it goes. So, Oman is getting quite large there. The Iranians might be looking to expand into Oman, though, like they did previously. So it's Mauritanian, Spanish West African imperialist war. I saw this imp part and I was thinking it said independence, but that's not what it was. So the New Zealanders the Kiwis are occupying parts of the Netherlands here in Indonesia. The Japanese, what's this war score looking like? Batavia's the capital. I think that's Manila, I think. Batavia, that is. So we do have one little Portuguese province here as well. Doing very well for the Japanese. They're occupying quite well. Never really look at the navy sizes, but that's probably... Do see some Dutch navies, not seeing as many Japanese navies, but obviously they're around unless I'm missing them. Obviously things are going very fast, we're at 4 speed, but surprised that there haven't been more. We're getting in a little bit of slow time with wars. Obviously this is the main thing that's going on. We've got have the Americans occupied anything here? They've declared this war. Obviously the British Indochina, that's not territory that they can siege out. They're not at war with the British. So yeah, I'm thinking that New Zealand and Japan are probably going to be pretty happy and they're going to get some gains here. Just thinking of in Victoria 2, there was like these, obviously every nation has this like fascist flags. I'm thinking this imperialist New Zealander is something like that. It's like a Maori flag. So we have the Americans are taking over some Dutch provinces in Borneo here. Going to really swing. So the Americans or the Japanese are very positive war score. It looks like the Vietnamese have dropped out of the Japanese war here, though. Surprised that the French haven't taken them out at some point. It'd have been easy pickings for them, but they've had plenty of other problems. Probably, while this happens, maybe look around the world at like opinions of countries. Maybe we'll do that. So yeah, the Japanese very bad with the Chinese. What about the Americans? Were not very happy with the Mexicans for a while, but looks like that's been okay. Germans very unhappy with the Soviet Union and the Italians and the French. Okay, Iranians not happy with Turkey. Turkey not happy with the Iranians, unsurprisingly. So China, not happy with the Japanese, very happy with the Soviets. Their allies, of course. So it looks like the Japanese just took over some more islands, and New Zealand took over a little bit more here into Indonesia as well. So they took Japanese, just like expanding a little bit in here. We did have an Iranian change of government. Like I was saying, This is going to be tough, though, for the Iranians are... Oman is allied with the French, obviously Antilles, their French colony here. So we've got... What is this going on? Somehow... Okay, they had a little bit of access through... Wait a minute here. So, okay. Yeah, so the French... I was always thinking that this... yeah, Syria is a French colony, not a British one, so... We've got Oman occupying parts of what is Iranian territory, but it looks like the Iranians do have the larger army. They've got a very large army, as a matter of fact. They've almost have 200k. Almost. It's very good for them. They should be able to win this, but I mean, the French are pretty much on their heels. Who else was allied with them? Just the French, and yeah. So, I was just looking at this border here, and the Iranians did war with Iraq at one point in time. That was a long time ago. I was thinking, did that happen recently? But no, it did not. So yeah, the Iranians taking out the Omanis here. The Saudi Arabia, although they're giving military access, cannot be very happy about the Iranians. Speaking of that, let's check opinion. So yeah, I mean they're not all that happy with the Iranians. Not happy at all. Saudi's much smaller army than the Iranians. And this American-Dutch... It looks like we've got some more Japanese exiled armies here in the Netherlands as well. But yeah, the Americans need to... Again, probably siege up Batavia, just like the Japanese probably did. And the Dutch still do have Dutch Guyana. I was just thinking, like, if the Dutch get thrown out of out of Indonesia, then where do they have to go? And I guess it would be Dutch Guyana would become the Netherlands as it is. Wouldn't be surprised if this Omani war ends quickly, but I suppose that the French could show up. It's like the Germans are probably rebuilding their armies, preparing for something going forward in a future episode. So yeah, it looks like the Iranians have occupied all of Oman here, so it's surprising that their war score isn't higher than it is. The attacker controls Zufar, so that's good for them, but they might need to occupy other parts of French territory to really be able to win this war. That's the cost of warring with somebody who's... or allied with somebody that's so far away from you. We've got some British Somalian pretenders here. Looks like the British Somaliland's having some issues with them. Quickly looking back. Dutch noble rebels not very happy about what's going... speaking... If they're noble rebels, who are they? Okay, the Dutch are... Yeah, it's a Dutch Republic. United Provinces. Interesting. There we go. The Americans are... They won that battle. I thought they were going to lose it. Okay, so they are... I was going to say, are they in British territory fighting? But there's a couple little islands there that were Dutch islands. Looking back over, so the Iranians... Just quickly look at what territory do they have access... Okay, well, they can get over to... well, they would need Italian access to get over that strait there. Across the Red Sea, basically. So yeah, the Iranians... Okay, they occupied all of what would be Syria. Now we'll see, they're gonna have to move into... The Iranians were allied with the... Yeah, they are still allied with the Italians, but the Italians have never joined in one of their wars. Looks like we've got a Nigerian, a Guinean imperialist war just fired off against so our usual suspects in Africa going to war again, and Indian war there going on. Its war score is 100, so it's just about to finish off. Alright, it does look like we're out of time for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please hit the like button as it really helps out the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.